Joey Bart, Andrew Baggerly, this would have been probably the day after we recorded. He wrote a piece on Joey Bart and how, Joey Bart may not be all that comfortable in his position right now. I'm going to read from Baggerly's piece. He said, Giants president Farhan Zaidi and manager Gabe Kapler called Bart into a player plan meeting. I don't want to play a player plan. That's an interesting meeting.
Roger Craig didn't do those.
No.
I can tell you that much.
Player plan. Last Wednesday, as pitchers and catchers reported for their physical exams at Scottsdale. And they informed Bart that nothing this spring or this season would be guaranteed. Not the everyday catching job, not the start on opening day, not even an assured place on the roster.
Wow.
So I went into this, and you and I have talked about it a little bit, but I kind of wondered how much BS this was. And the reason why I say that is because other than Bart, on the Giants roster, they have Roberto Perez and Blake Sabol, who's not even necessarily only a catcher. He's multiple position guy.
He's an outfielder.
And they signed Austin Wynns to a minor league deal. So he's not even on the 40-man, from what I understand. That is not a murderer's row of competition for Joey Bart.
No?
So you're telling me that Joey Bart is not good enough to beat out a couple of guys, a veteran and a really good defensive player, but somebody who's over, who's nearing the end of his career in Roberto Perez. Blake Sabol, who, like we said, we don't really know what his position is. He's an outfielder. And Austin Wynns, who's on the minor league roster. So I'm just thinking like Joey Bart is a number 2 pick in the draft. He has, he being the number 2 pick, he's got, a good contract for his very short career so far. And it's just like in every scenario that Joey Bart has ever played in his career, he's always been like the best player on his team. So You're telling me that this is the way that you're going to scare this guy into playing better? I didn't get it at all. Maybe it's not scare. Maybe they're trying to inspire him. Maybe they're trying to light a fire. But if I'm Joey Bart, I'm like, really, guys? Like, just be honest with me. Just what do I need to work on? How am I'm trying, do I need to do, more than what I'm doing? Like, what is the thing? Like, how are we going to make this a great partnership? Because otherwise, I'm looking at that list of catchers if I'm Joey Bart and going like, are you really going to cut me for Austin Wynns? Is like that the thing that you're going to hang this season on?
Right. And I think, like you said, too, the BS meter is like off the charts on this one. It's not even, you can't even see it. It's so far off the charts. I mean, it's obviously, basically, it's a situation to say, hey, look, Joey, we see you and we're not giving it to you. But they're not going to say you're probably going to be on the 26-man roster come opening day because he still has options. So they can't just, he's not guaranteed a spot or get traded. That's not going to happen. He's going to end up in AAA if for some reason Roberto Perez breaks it, Blake Sabol, Austin Wynns, Patrick Bailey. I mean, one of those guys can beat him out.
Yeah.
Which is probably not going to happen. But yeah, they basically told him, put the ball in play more. Yeah. He struck out 38.5% of his ABs. That's second worst only to the great hacker home run Joey Gallo. So, I mean, they just want him to put the ball in play. So when he went down in June last year, that's what happened. Came back up. They told him the same thing, came back up. Kapler said he became a more productive hitter at the time, but then really dropped off in September again.
Yeah.
So I thought what they saw was progress, regression, and now they're saying progress or else. And that's the bottom line. It's not like you're going to end up on a different team. I mean, it's possible, but he's 24 years old, right?
It's 26.
20, sorry, my bad. 26 years old. How old is Adley Rushman going to be next year? Do you know? I do.
Go
I
for it.
just want to see if you knew.
I didn't know.
He's going to be 25 next
wow.
year. And he is considered the top catcher, made it to the majors this year, put on a display of power, put on a display of catcher skills defensively and owning that pitching staff. So I think the Giants saw that and they said, close to the same age. Bart's been up for a year and a half now total, probably in all of his games. We want to see that progression. We want to see, an Adley Rutschman type of progression, type of ownage in the majors. We don't need to see any more regression. We've seen enough. It is time. So that's pretty much what that talk was. And Joey Bart, from all accounts and all the reporting, really took that to heart and said, yeah, I'm ready. Let's go. Let's do this. He didn't get down in the dumps. He didn't get upset. He took ownage of it. And that's what you do at the catcher position. You're basically you're the quarterback of the team at the catcher position. You have to take that ownage. You have to show guts. You have to show leadership skills like Buster Posey did for so many years. And I'm sorry, Joey Bart, you are going to get compared to Buster Posey for a really long time. It's just going to happen. So yeah, BS meter off the charts, but clear and cut message.
It would have been, I think, more impactful had they actually signed a catcher who could compete, give him, some competition for that spot. Like that's where can, maybe you kick him in the butt a little bit by bringing in an actual guy who might be able to win the job out of spring. But man, there's so many question marks on the three guys that I mentioned. The one that you said, though, that makes some interesting sense is Patrick Bailey. Now, he's had his own issues offensively and also staying healthy. But I do wonder if in the back of their minds, they're like, okay, we actually think Bailey has a better chance to be a player. And thus, it's kind of put up or shut up time for Bart. Because I'm assuming Bailey starts in AA. That's is he going to be Richmond? Yeah. So that'll be really interesting.
Well, the thing too with that is you look at and you say Patrick Bailey is a good defensive catcher. He's had injuries we haven't seen. So if Patrick Bailey has a fantastic first half of the season, now Joey Bart might be looking over his shoulder saying, I really have to keep it going. He's got to just, look forward, progress, and he'll be fine. I think he's going to be a good catcher in the majors. Is he going to be a number 2 overall? Probably not at this point, but he's going to be a good catcher. He could even be a very good catcher, but the power needs to be there. The ball and play needs to be there, and the defense needs to grow a little bit. And with the bigger bases and everything else going on and the less pickoff moves, it really has to shine within the first couple of months.
On some of the other podcasts that we do, the Death Lineup, We Want Winners, I've used the correlation of these high draft picks who have not yet begun to produce the way that a high draft pick should. And the Warriors traded one of those guys, James Wiseman, number 2 pick in the 2019 or 2020 draft. And 2019, I think. And he was going to be like the next wave of player for the Warriors. 7'2", athletic as all hell. And he just couldn't figure it out with the current team. And they traded him at the trade deadline for not a player who would have been his value a year ago. Like they kind of were just like, oh, we got to take 50 cents on the dollar for him because he has not progressed at all. He's actually gotten worse in some senses. So, and I was also talking about on We Want Winners with Roderick. We were talking about Trey Lance. Like Trey Lance comes in, they draft him, they trade up to draft him. They give away so many picks in the next few drafts. And he doesn't play all that much in his rookie year. And then last year he was kind of given the keys and like, okay, you're going to be the guy. And then he gets hurt and he's out for the entire year after getting hurt in game 2. And so he himself hasn't been able to showcase, what he could or what they drafted him for. And all of a sudden, little Brock Purdy just comes in and starts winning games. And now that's the quarterback competition for next year. But Joey Bart very much fits that. Joey Bart is actually the first one out of those 3, and I didn't even put the 2 and 2 together when we were talking about it on the other shows. But Joey Bart, he is, like you said, the guy to replace Buster Posey. That's how highly they thought of him and his skill set and all of those things. And, also his makeup, because the catcher is the leader, right? The catcher's gotta be a leader. You're calling pitches, you got to be one of the more heady players on the field. So there's a lot of pressure there. And then, he comes in and he's supposed to be a big power guy from the right side, and it hasn't happened. So kind of weird how all 3 Bay Area teams, drafting guys very highly, and in doing so, not usually having high draft picks. Like this, the kind of the time they do get a high draft pick, and they all kind of miss. And we'll see if the Giants miss here with Joey Bart. Actually, also with Trey Lance. We don't know what we got to see him healthy before we make any declarations about him. But James Wiseman, absolutely, they missed on him in what he was going to bring to that team. So Joey Bart, also the same sort of thing right there. And gosh, can it just work to where he just goes, oh, I can hit 25 bombs and hit 280 and be fine. Like, just like, how would you just do it? Like, instead of like us, like laboring over this thing going like, oh my God, when is it going to work? Like, usually it just doesn't work and you just deal with it. But I was like, just where's the unicorn effect here? Just all of a sudden just turn into like, 25 jacks and 2-8. Like, that'd be great if he did. Because it would solve so many problems for the Giants.
And with this coaching staff, I mean, they're well regarded to get the most out of hitters. I mean, look at Yaz, look at Lamont Wade Jr. I mean, all these guys that they grabbed and just got the, squeezed every last ounce of hitting out of them. Joey Bart's got that absolute just raw power. So when it does finally click, if it does finally click with the Giants, we say it every year, you could be looking at a 30 home run catcher. Probably, at that point he'd be a 240 hitter, 250 hitter. I would take that. Absolutely. I would take a 230 hitter with 30 home runs a year as a catcher.